Hello, this is Dr. Amina Aitsi-Selmi for a Wise Wednesdays video, and today I want to talk briefly about an exercise, a tool that you can use to continue in this journey we're all going through, navigating some kind of a transformation, both in our environment and in our social structures, and therefore in our lives and careers and work. And it comes from a tool we used yesterday, a couple of questions we used yesterday in a group coaching session, a deep dive conversation with a colleague at the RSA, and that people found helpful. These were leaders, professionals, people who are in social impact or have a sense of service and mission. They work in sustainability, they work in organizations and feel called to make a difference. And so on. You might be a doctor, you might be a lawyer, you might be an entrepreneur, you might be a psychologist, a therapist, but maybe you have a sense of you're here to do something meaningful or that's beyond just your own survival and comfort. Those are the people I tend to work with and that tend to gravitate towards my work. So welcome if that's you. If that's not you, that's fine too. You're also welcome to discover and see if this helps you. So, the key concept here is intuition, because it's a very important tool in navigating uncertainty. When there aren't clear answers, when there's a lot of noise, when people are telling you different things, when you're having different types of thoughts that might contradict each other from one day to the next. Like one day you might think, that's it, I'm leaving, I'm going on a sabbatical. And the next day you're like, what am I talking about? I've got it so good. Why would I leave my situation or job or career? I've been through all of those and I've helped lots of people navigate those experiences. So intuition is your friend. It's your ally. It's your fallback. What do I mean by intuition? So it's a mode of knowing. It's a mode of knowledge. It's a way that you integrate different sources of data, whether it's what your senses are telling you, what your reason is telling you, what your memory is telling you, what your habits are telling you. Different aspects of you integrated into this one incredible thing we call intuition, and that gives you a sense of an answer, or it gives you a sense of, it gives you a perspective. And that perspective is dynamic, so it's lived. It's something that's also combined with a sense of knowing what to do. So you could say it's two things, and this is reflected in the two questions that I'm about to share with you. So your intuition can be divided into two aspects that cognitive scientists call one, your perspectival knowing, or your perspectival self. So that's how you're seeing the world. It's your ability to sense complex patterns. So that's aspect one of your intuition. Aspect number two is your participatory knowing, or your volitional self, a sense of knowing what to do. And so that's the second aspect of your intuition that I'm bringing in today. So here are the two questions that invite you to use if you're navigating a sense of uncertainty and you are ready to really tune into your intuition, to what you're knowing and wanting to do, rather than what you've been told or expected to perceive or do. And if you've already had success in life, if you've got some kind of stability and a nice situation in life, it can be harder for you because the expectations and the system you've sort of invested in have worked to a certain extent, right? So there's a sense of a sunk cost that if you give up on that perspective or way of living, that you're losing a lot. And that may be true. You may be losing something. But if you're feeling a kind of intuition that there's more or something different, then that is your truth. That is calling you forth to something different, and likely more fulfilling than whatever is in place right now. And of course, that requires a bit of or a lot of courage, confidence, and faith that there is something, even if you don't know exactly what it is. But let's come back to your intuition, because your intuition will tell you at least what the next step is. So question number one, and I also let's just pause for a minute or a moment, just so what I've just said can float away. And you can connect to this particular moment, what you're sensing right now through contact with the chair, contact with the ground, contact with your breath. And here's question number one for you. What is your intuition telling you about your current situation in your environment that may sound crazy, but is still what your intuition is telling you? So that's question number one, and you can just let it sink in and either write something now or write something later. Feel free to pause this if you want to write or take a moment. Here's question number two. If you trusted your intuition 100%, what would you start doing or stop doing immediately? Take a moment to contemplate that, and feel free to write something down, or come back to it later. Feel free to pause the video as well. And this has very practical implications. For example, I often see clients or people who are getting a sense that it's time to look beyond their current role, their current job, but they hesitate and they doubt. And unfortunately, sometimes that's a sense that restructuring is coming in the company and they feel that it might be time for them to leave. So I remember someone was starting to think about leaving and looking beyond the company where they were, and then at the last minute they changed their mind and said, no, it's okay, I'm going to stay for another year. A week later they wrote to me and said that they'd been made redundant. So it's not that that's wrong or there's a problem with it, but it's just that they had an intuition and they doubted it. And it's fine, because then that helps us learn to trust our intuition for the future. So there's no mistakes really. And when you do trust your intuition, situations happen, unfold, that you could not have engineered alone, because your intuition is able to sense into much more data than you consciously can process. We know that from Daniel Kahneman's work and his Nobel Prize winning work, and also from ancient traditions. And your intuition is able to process complex patterns and make sense of them, even if it's just one small step rather than a full prediction of the future. So trust even the small steps. Don't require your intuition to give you all the answers immediately. Your intuition is an incredible tool. It's one of the higher human faculties, and I encourage you and support you to trust it 100%. I hope this was helpful. Feel free to leave a question or a comment, and I will see you soon. Have a great week. Bye.